Hi everyone, on today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet this really cute and easy scarf. It is a very beginner friendly project because we're only going to be using one stitch to make this whole scarf, and it also builds up pretty quickly. So without further ado, let me tell you guys the materials you need to make this project. So to make this scarf and to give it its chunky look, you're gonna need to work with 2 strands of yarn, and for that I use 2 strands of weight 4 yarn, which is a medium weight yarn, and this is 100% acrylic. You can really use whatever yarn you prefer, but I do suggest using a yarn that is pretty soft because you're going to be wearing this. And with the yarn you're going to need a 10mm hook. Also, if you're a beginner, I highly suggest you using 2 stitch markers just to make sure that your edges are straight. So this is pretty much all you need to make the scarf, so we can now get started with the tutorial. Now to start to make this scarf, what you're going to do is grab your 2 strands of yarn and we're going to make a slip knot. So to do a slip knot, I take my yarn and I roll it 2 times on my fingers like this, making an X shape. Then I grab my hook and I pass it underneath here and grab the yarn over here. Then I turn my fingers and take them off and I pull. Then you can pull again to adjust it to your hook. So here we have our slip knot. Now that we're done making the slip knot, we're going to start chaining. The amount of chains you make is going to determine how long your scarf is. I'm going to be making 145 chains, but the length is totally up to you. You can make it longer or shorter than me by making more or less chains. So to chain, you have to yarn over your hook and pull through. So here's one chain. The loop on your hook does not count as a chain. If you're a beginner, I suggest you take a stitch marker and place it on the loop on the left here, just like this. So again, to chain, you have to yarn over your hook and pull through. So here we have 2 chains, yarn over, pull through, that's 3, yarn over, pull through, 4, so on and so forth until you feel like your scarf is long enough for you. Again, I made a total of 145 chains, but for this tutorial I'm only going to be crocheting a small swatch to show you how to make this stitch. Alright, so for my swatch I've chained 11, but again for my actual scarf I chained 145. So for this entire scarf we're only going to be working with half double crochets in the back loop only, and so I'm going to show you guys how to do this. So let's start with row 1. To start row 1, we're going to skip the first chain and make a half double crochet in the second chain. So to do that, we're going to yarn over our hook. We're going to skip the first chain over here. Remember that the loop on your hook here does not count as a chain. So we're going to skip the first chain, insert our hook in the second chain right over here. Then we're going to yarn over our hook and pull through. Here you have 3 loops on your hook. And then you're going to yarn over again and pull through all of the loops on your hook, just like this. So here we have our first half double crochet. If you're a beginner, I suggest to take a stitch marker and place it on your first stitch, just like this. And we're going to repeat this all across. So again, we're going to yarn over our hook. We're going to insert our hook in the next chain, like this. We're going to yarn over and pull through. We have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through all the loops on our hook. So here's our second half double crochet. Again, yarn over, insert your hook in the next chain, yarn over, pull through. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all the loops on your hook. And so you're going to repeat that all across your long chain. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook in the next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all the loops on your hook. So go ahead and make half double crochets all across until you have 1 chain left. Alright, so here I have 1 last chain. I'm going to take off my stitch marker and make 1 last half double crochet in there. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook in that last chain, yarn over, pull through, and pull through all the loops on my hook. So here we're done with row 1. To start row 2, you're going to chain 1. So yarn over your hook and pull through. Once you're done doing that, you're going to turn your work. just like this. Now, as I said previously, we're going to be working half double crochets in the back loop only. What that means is that instead of inserting our hook in the stitch like this, we're going to insert our hook in the back loop only like this. So for that, I suggest you to look at your work really from the top instead of looking at it like this, because this might confuse you. So really look at your work from the top like this. So the first thing we're going to do is skip the chain we just made here and insert our hook in the back loop of the first stitch. So we're going to skip the chain we just made before turning our work. We're going to yarn over and insert our hook in the back loop of the first stitch. Like this. We're going to yarn over and pull through and finish our half double crochet by yarning over and pulling through all the loops on our hook. Now take back your stitch marker and place it in the first stitch over here. Now we're going to go over to our next stitch. We're going to yarn over. We're going to insert our hook in the back loop of the next stitch. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through all the loops on our hook. And we're going to repeat that all across. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to look at our work from the top, we're going to insert our hook in the back loop of the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all the loops on our hook. Again, we're going to yarn over, look at our work from the top, insert our hook in the back loop of the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all the loops on our hook. Yarn over, back loop, half double crochet. So go ahead and do this all across, and I'll see you guys when I have one stitch left. Alright, so here I have one last stitch, and I know it because I have a stitch marker there. So I'm going to take it off. I'm going to yarn over and make my half double crochet in here. And here we're done with row 2. To start row 3, again, we're going to yarn over and pull through to make a chain. And we're going to turn our work. Again, we're going to do the same thing as in row 2. We're going to skip the chain we just made and insert our hook in the first stitch of the row in the back loop only. So again, don't look at your work like this, look at from the top. Yarn over, skip the chain, insert your hook in the back loop of the first stitch, and make your half double crochet. Once you're done making your first half double crochet, take back your stitch marker and put it back in that first stitch. We're now going to go over to the next stitch. We're going to yarn over, look at our work from the top, insert our hook in the back loop, and make our half double crochet. Yarn over, next stitch, back loop, half double crochet. Yarn over, next stitch, back loop, half double crochet. Alright, so go ahead and do that all across. Alright, so here I've reached my last stitch, and I know it because I have my stitch marker there. So I'm going to take it off. I'm going to yarn over, find the back loop of my last stitch, like this, and make my half double crochet. So here we're done with row 3. And so this is pretty much all there is to it. Every time you start a new row, you have to chain 1 and turn your work. Then to start the new row, you have to skip the chain you just made and insert your hook in the back loop of the first stitch. So you yarn over, you skip the chain, insert your hook in the back loop of the first stitch, and you make your half double crochet. And then you take your stitch marker and place it in the first stitch of the row. And then you just keep on making half double crochets all across in the back loop only. So this is pretty much all there is to this pattern. So you have to keep on making rows until you're satisfied with the width of your scarf. If you're curious to know how many rows I made for my scarf, I made a total of 13 rows, which equals to about 8 inches. So whenever you're done making all of your rows, what you're gonna do is chain 1, and pull some yarn. And then you're gonna cut the yarn, pull on it a little bit to close the chain like this, and then you're going to weave in your ends. So this is pretty much all there is to this pattern. I really hope you enjoyed making this scarf. I feel like it's so pretty and it's so easy to do. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed crocheting this. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more crochet tutorials. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.